Well, like we told you earlier, tonight on Monday Special, we focus on two horrible crimes that are on a worrying rise in the country. That is rape and defilement. Rape refers to a forced sexual act involving anyone aged 18 years and above, while defilement refers to a similar act on a minor. Now, statistics indicate last year, 7 children were defiled and 2 women raped daily in the country. In fact, while police documented an 8% decline in general crime in their latest report released last December, that is last year, they lamented the rise on rape cases, which went up by 20%. This rise is, however, we'll come back to that in a short while. This rise is, however, not matched by the number of court convictions for rape and defilement cases. Now, this variance begs the question, are rapists and defilers escaping justice? And if so, who is to blame? Is it incompetence in investigations? Is it because of lack of knowledge of victims in helping preserve evidence? And are victims getting the support they need to cope with the resultant trauma? Now, the police puts the number, if we can go back to the defilement cases, the police puts the number of defiled children in Kenya in 2013 at 2,693. That is about 7 children every day. That's a 7% decrease from the number in 2012, which was 2,888 defiled children, while in 2011, 2,695 children were defiled. All through those 3 years, you can see, was about 7 children every day. Now, rape cases reported to the National Police Service in 2013 was 788, an increase of 20% from the 655 cases reported in 2012, while 781 cases were reported in 2011. Again, in all those 3 years, about 2 women being raped every day. Another crime related to rape and defilement is incest, which refers to unlawful sexual acts among close relatives. In 2013, 181 cases were reported in Kenya, 246 were reported to the police in 2012, and 238 were reported in 2011. Now, even more alarming is the fact that these are statistics limited to cases that have been filed with the police. Many more cases go unreported, meaning the real number is likely to be even higher. Janet and the panel will be looking into some of those reasons. Meanwhile, the Gender-Based Violence Recovery Center states the following circumstances under which rape mostly happens or arises. You can see in neighborhoods, nightclubs and parties. Here, mostly it's about drugging. Isolated places or places unknown to someone, at home, and this includes marital rape, during hijacking and carjackings. And of course, as Janet and the experts will be telling us, this is an emerging trend after carjackings, people get raped now in Kenya. And of course, GVRC also outlines some of the factors that contribute to rape as follows: poor socialization, substance abuse or drug abuse, myths and misconceptions, personality traits, and disorder, retrogressive cultures, moral degradation, and mental disorders. We now cross over to Janet in our talk studio for more. Janet.
It's difficult to say that, to see that you even indicated, while crime has generally declined, the cases of rape have actually gone up. So let me just start with Miriam Muli, the Deputy Director, of course, at the Community Policing, Gender and Child Protection. Can I ask you exactly what you think is happening, why there's a sense that there is no justice for a lot of these perpetrators? We're not seeing enough convictions, we're not seeing enough people being put behind bars. What exactly is happening with that?
Okay, thank you so much, Janet. I think justice is being done because there's been convictions. Yeah. Cases of rape reported at the police station have been successfully investigated and prosecuted. And actually, if you look at some of the areas, like Naivasha, I've been talking to a prosecutor there, 70% of the cases brought before court, 70%, they have secured 70% are convicted, successfully prosecuted and convicted. So I don't. So
you're saying that there's more convictions taking place, and that everything else is a misconception. That because we're saying from the feedback, from what people are saying when they perhaps go to the police station, we'll hear from a couple just now who were victims, that they reported the case, and that was over a year ago, and to date nothing has been done, and that seems to be a trend that we see across the board. So, but you're on the other hand saying that there is actually, that convictions are taking place.
Yeah, convictions are taking place, and I would also want to put it like most of the cases reported to the police, some of them come a little bit too late.
What do you mean by too
Somebody
late?
was violated or raped 3 days ago, 4 days ago, and is reporting to the police station today, when actually evidence has been destroyed. So the case is reported, you initiate investigations, but actually you can do nothing much to connect the perpetrator with the crime.
So what happens in those cases? Does it become a cold case? Is it closed and put away, or do we at least see people try to look into it continuously?
Okay, thank you so much. Once it's reported and you're trying, the investigation will start. The investigating officer, whom we commonly refer to as the IO, will try to piece the evidence, but you realize so much of the case has been destroyed by it. This is a victim or a survivor, let's put it that way, who was raped 3-4 days ago, reported to the police station, or even a case of defilement. The mother brings, or a relative brings this child. It happened last week. Maybe even as a teacher would notice that, and the case is rushed to the police station. Actually, at that stage, you might not be able to do much.
All right, I'll come back to the police again. In fact, we have something to show our audience very shortly regarding how sometimes the cases of rape are handled at a police station. Alberta, let's move to you. You deal with you know, the victims, stroke survivors on a daily basis. Before we go into that, in your view, do a lot of them come to you saying, the police have helped me, or do a lot of them come to you saying, I didn't really get much help from the police station?
When the survivors come to us, we encourage them to come within 72 hours of assault. So then the feedback about the police would be after they get the medical treatment. So when they go to the police, then it's the feedback would be with follow-up medical tests or with follow-up counseling sessions. I would say it's both ways. Yeah, there are some who would be very happy and would have gotten all the support they need, but there are some who would face some difficulties.
Okay, sort of like, such as inappropriate questions being asked and that kind of thing. What's your biggest concern with regards to what you've heard about how some of them are treated when they go to the police station?
My concern would be writing down of the statement.
Okay.
One, it's not an emergency. You know, I understand where Miriam says they come to the police late, but it needs to be clear that they need to go to the medical facility in good time first before the police station, because then you have the medical examination and documentation that is done. So that has been a challenge, where, for example, is it a secluded place? You know, the questions, I'm looking at the sensitivity and the traumatic experience the survivors have just had. There's a way that you need to discuss with them. There's a way that you need to get them to write the statement, not being judgmental, but being non-judgmental. Yeah,
and sensitive.
And sensitive.
All right, Lucy, I'll come to you just now just to talk a little bit more about the psychosocial support. Miriam, if I can come back to you, there are reports that have indicated that not enough police officers have been trained with regards to how to handle victims of rape. Is that something that's been looked into? Is that something that you're aware of?
It's something that I'm aware of, and I would wish to bring up a case like this. Is a victim or a survivor who was reported, who was gone to the police station to report a rape case. On arrival at the station, even if he's reporting at the report office, the customer care will immediately be referred to the gender desk. All the police stations in the country, they have gender, we call them gender and child desks.
Yes.
Where such cases, actually all SGBV cases are reported.
Okay.
And all those desks are manned, actually, even if not 100%, more than 80% by trained officers who have gone through special training on handling gender-based violence cases, actually sexual and gender-based violence cases.
But we still hear cases where they're laughed at. We still hear cases where these victims come in and they're asked, what did you do wrong? You must have done something. And these are real-life accounts of what's happened. So we're just trying to understand whether it's because we need the officers to be better trained, or whether there's even a culture, perhaps, within the police force in some way that doesn't really let them take it seriously in some instances.
Okay, thank you so much. Then I would be shocked as a senior police officer to know a victim reports a rape case, defilement, and they are laughed at the police station, and especially at the gender desk. Because most of the officers, as I said, even if not 100%, more than 80%, they are manned by officers who have been trained in handling gender-based violence cases. And they are received there. Their cases are recorded. They are actually with a lot of sensitivity, privacy and confidentiality. And actually, let me put it this way. Most of them, when you go to any police station, you realize they are manned by women, police officers. I'm not trying to say our brothers, they are not good at it, but mostly they are manned by women.
Okay. We'll, of course, we also want to continue to ask you who's watching to send us your own experiences. If you were unfortunately a victim of rape or someone you know and you went to report it, how was it handled at the police station? We'd like to know. I'd also like to remind you that Hussein Mohammed will be joined shortly by a couple who were unfortunately attacked and assaulted, and they'll tell us a little bit about the experience and what happened thereafter. So make sure you stand by for that. And of course, my team will let me know when I'll be able to run the story by Judy Kosgei. Okay, fine. We're told it's not ready yet, but we'll come back to that in just a moment. Let's bring you in now, yes. Lucy. As we continue to look at the justice aspect, we're also looking at the support.
Absolutely.
Psychologically, you've dealt with a lot of these survivors. I believe it's better to call them survivors. Yes. I think that's what I'm getting from you. What is their emotional state like? Certainly broken, but take us to the emotional state of a lot of them who you've dealt with firsthand.
When the rape happens and they come to seek for psychosocial help, there'll be a feeling of helplessness. There'll be a feeling of intense anxiety. There'll be lots of misconceptions. Janet, you brought that up when you talked about feeling that there's something wrong. Many of them think that they brought it to themselves. Many of them think that they are guilty. And so basically what it is that you're handling is first the misconceptions that I must be really bad. I did this to myself. I am dirty. And so you want to deal with such emotions and you want to help them find their potentialities because you don't want to reduce them to their rape. They are not the incident. They are human beings. Okay. And before the rape, they had a life. And so you don't want them to think that the rape defines who they are. All right. Life does continue even after the rape.
That's powerful. You don't want to reduce them to the incident because they were people before.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll continue to talk about that. We now want to cross over to Hussein, who's standing by with Shadrach and Rose. Let them share their story with us, Hussein.
Janet, like you put it, Shadrach Mudhami, 26-year-old, and Rose Mudhami is 23 years old. Of course, they're married. They have a story to share with us. I'll just tell Shadrach to start.
Hi, viewers. My name is Shadrach. This is Rose, my beautiful wife. And we got married last year, April the 6th. And yeah, it happened in the year 2012, 11th May, when we were walking at around 9 p.m.
You were still married at the time?
No, not that time. We were dating, but we were planning to wed. Yeah. So we were walking and they realized there are some guys behind us following us.
Sorry, where? Walking where?
We are in Rongai, a place called Mayor Road. Yeah, we were going to church for Acacia. Yeah, so when we realized these guys were following us, we decided to run. But we realized they were also running after us. So when they reached us where we, she lost strength. She could not run because she got scared. So she fell. So that's where they reached us. Some guys came from their houses, but these guys were armed. So they felt like, this is too risk. They went back to their houses. So they took us deep in the forest. And from one...
Now, at that point, they had already caught you, like...
Sorry?
At that point, they had already gotten hold of you?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then they took you, say, to a forest,
yeah,
still in Rongai?
Still in Rongai. Yeah, there's a river called Bagadi River. Yeah, I tried to resist as a man, you know, you have to fight back. But The guys were strong, they are armed.
And how many were they?
Also, I feel like I'm risking when I'm struggling with them. So I decided to cooperate. Yeah.
They were how many?
They were 3, but when we got into the forest, they were 2. So we never knew the other person where he went. But they are running after us. Where they caught us, they were 3 guys. Yeah, so inside the forest, that's where now they decided to sexually assault her. At that time, I was lying down. One of them was on top of my back with a weapon that I could not do anything because he felt like maybe I could fight back. Yeah, so they did it repeatedly, like 2 times each. And it was a painful experience, especially to me. Now, this is my fiancée. Can hear her cry. Besides where I am, I can do nothing. Yeah, but for her security, I just felt, let me just cooperate. Yeah. So after that,
did they leave you at that? I mean, after doing what they did they
actually
harm you? Did they force you to do anything else, or did they take anything from you? Or?
After that, they also forced me to assault her. Yeah, and we felt like these guys are like, they are positive, because why are they doing this? It's like something they are spreading. Yeah, so I had to cooperate. Then after some time, one of them was for the idea that they should kill us. Yeah, and they were ready for that. So we were just there because we could do nothing at that point. But we trusted God. He was still with us.
Yeah, let me bring in Rose.
Yes,
you're brave enough, of course, to come and talk about this, Rose. If you're still brave enough to talk about this. From then, from where he left off, what happened? Like,
okay, before they forced him to assault me also, we had lied to them that we're siblings. That's when they decided to force him. Because walikuwa wanashinda akiuliza, is he your boyfriend? I think they wanted to do away with us or something. But I don't know, God directed us. I said he's my bro, and they can stick to that. He also said that I'm his sister. So they felt, kind of brother and a sister, it's something that is wrong to do. That's when they forced us. They forced him to do it. Yeah, okay, before they caught us, we were running. I lost strength, I fell down. Till now, actually, I have wounds on my knees. When I fell, they dragged me. Nikiwa tu nimelala wakanidrag, wakamchapa, akashindwa kujitetea.
okay.
So we were carried to the bush.
Okay.
That's why, okay, while we were walking down the bush, one of the guys started touching my body. The other one started touching my boobs. So I came close to him. I told him, I think wanataka kunirape. But he pretended akusikia because he didn't have anything to do.
It's very sad.
So they decided to
Yeah.
cooperate it.
So after that incident, what happened? Did you guys go to the police, or did you report it anywhere? Or
Yeah, immediately.
that was late at night, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you left the 2 of you left there alone.
The 2 of you, with the 2 of us, we called a certain guy after, because we went to church where we were going to Kesha. Yeah, we took a phone for one of our friends. Yeah, tukaita taxi, wakatupeleka na Nairobi Women Hospital in Rongai.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were attended immediately. We were given PEVs. Then very early in the morning, we went to report the case to the police station, Rongai. Yes.
And what happened at the police station?
We recorded the statement, and they told us after that they will be conducting us, they'll be talking to us. But honestly, after that, we went there again to find out whether they have managed to maybe catch up with them. But up to now, yeah.
Well, yeah. You want to say something?
Okay, yeah. Okay, vile tulienda polisi, okay, that's serious. Okay, they didn't take the issue as a serious matter because we were given, I remember the policeman was called Maura. At that time he was drunk. It was in the morning. And he just wrote down the case and he said, Sawa, we'll talk to you later. But till now.
Until now, nothing has happened.
Nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
The good thing, of course, is after that, you were strong enough and you moved on.
Yeah.
He's a psychological counselor. She's an accountant. And after that, you actually got married.
Yeah.
Well, they say they didn't get the best, they didn't have the best experience with the police. Janet has talked about that. There are some who say that, of course, the police say that is not always the case. And of course, among the major police reforms has been the introduction of gender desks at police stations. The rationale was to make police stations more friendly to those seeking police services, especially the sensitive cases such as rape and defilement. Judy Kosgei visited the Kayole police station to test if people reporting rape cases there get the much needed help. Take a look.
What happens when victims of rape go to Kenyan police stations? How are they handled? What questions are they asked? And who speaks to them? It may be impossible, in fact, it is not possible to put myself into the shoes of any rape victim. But I'm going to pose as one today just to find out what they undergo every time they visit a Kenyan police station to report their case. The road to Kayole police station, Nairobi. This a neighborhood stated as a crime hotspot in April 2013 by the Security Research Information Center. Rape is one of them. With a hidden camera walking to the reception of the busy police station, one thing is in my mind. Do rape victims get the help they deserve? It is around 2:30 p.m. Monday. All kinds of cases are being reported and being recorded in an occurrence book OB. From domestic violence, from a young mother to a middle-aged man who reports that he was shot at. Another one lost 17,000 shillings to a lady he met in a bar on Sunday night. It was my turn. This officer in civilian attire steps in to help his colleague. I made up a story of the rape case. He took me to a bench away from the crowded reception.
Jana nilikuwa nimekuja kutembelea rafiki yangu.
Jana alikuleta. Ndio nawe mwingine.
He listened to my story and even offered to carry the occurrence book to another building in the police station which is less busy. Here he wrote down each and every detail.
Ujaenda hosi?
Sijaenda.
Women kuna nyingine nitakuelezea kama unaweza enda hii I3 ni sawa. Kuna nyingine NGO.
The OB number he gave me 43/10/2 2014. He said this would be the beginning for my quest for justice. Cases of rape victims being mistreated in police stations continue to be reported, but this was different.
Ukija utakuja ukiona hapo utapewa moja kwa sawa.
Na jina yako ni nani?
Nikitu
kama
If only all police officers handled rape cases the way Kamau does. Judy Kosgei for Monday Special.
Indeed, if only all police officers take care of such cases like Kamau did. And of course, ours was to show that. But this was Kayole only. We don't know if it happens everywhere. But of course, that is very encouraging. Shadrach here, in their experience, the experience was a bit different. Just before I go, I know you have a question for the police lady, Miriam Muli, in the other studio. The question is, how did you, this was very traumatizing, I believe, for both of you. Yeah. How did you heal from this? What steps did you take? Very briefly.
Okay. One, I thank God that we are all saved and we love God, and we are able to know that for some reason, God has a reason for us, and there is life after that. Two, we immediately attended some sessions, GVRC, and Nairobi Women, whereby they gave us a lot of support. Yeah, and we are able to know that there is life after this. And there were so many people who had gone through the same thing in that support group, whereby you realize that, I'm not alone. There are so many people who have gone through the same experience. Okay. Yes.
Right. You have a question for the police?
Yeah, I have a question. What she said, most of the times the survivors do not report immediately. They take time. But I think I disagree with that, because for us, very early in the morning, we were there. And actually, we met another couple who had gone the same. They were reporting. They live in Rongai, our friends. We became friends from that time. Yeah, and the wife was 6 months pregnant. She had also gone through the same experience. They were reporting also. So I think the way she says, not so, because for us, we reported immediately. Okay. And after that, nothing happened. And number two, I also realized, like 2 days ago, I was going for my wife where she works at 7. I met policemen, they arrested me, asking, where are you going? And then I'm wondering, at 11 p.m., where now the criminals are walking and all that, you cannot see them. But at 7, they're arresting me. Okay. Yeah.
Janet.
Okay, first of all, can I just commend Shadrach and Rose for sharing your story. Our hearts go out to you. That's such a painful experience. You're such a brave and amazing, lovely couple. And I think you've touched so many people. So thank you for being so brave enough to come on the show. It's such a difficult story to hear. Shadrach, thank you for your thoughts and your questions. Miriam, it's hard to ignore that there's a problem. You know, first of all, they say that the officer, Maura, was drunk. And that's one huge issue. And then the fact that there was another couple at the time reporting it shortly after. There seems to be a lapse somewhere, and I think we're trying to get to where that lapse is, because the number of rape cases reported and the number of convictions don't add up. The convictions are such few compared to the cases that are reported. So is it a lack of manpower? Is it a lack of training? Some people also complain that not all of the police stations actually have gender desks. That's what a lot of people are telling me on social media. So where is the lapse? I know that you need to defend the police and say, we're trying our best, we're convicting a lot of cases, but that's not happening. Something's wrong. So just be honest with us and tell us exactly where the lapse is.
Okay, thank you so much. It's so unfortunate the couple had to go through that, and reporting the following day, that is the reception they got. First, I would want to put it this way. This officer at Rongai has not, actually, he doesn't deserve to be called an officer if that is exactly what happened. But I would want to say, we have gender desks at the police stations.
At all of them?
I want to believe all of them because it's a requirement. And actually one of our, at the directorate at police headquarters, one of our assignments this, according to our work plan this year, between Feb and March, is to go around the country, almost all police stations, to check whether they have gender desks and officers are there, and maybe we do a bit of interviews with them. And again, I was saying Maura has no business in being, actually it doesn't deserve to be called an officer if that is exactly what happened. And I want me to believe this same Maura is the one who had on the next couple who visited the station after Shadrach.
Which is why there was no justice after that.
Yeah,
so
I don't defend officers, that is not happening. We still have those wrong officers, but I want to believe the number is small. But even one officer who is not performing makes it bad for everybody.
Absolutely. It's probably something you should look into, this Maura. And
capacity building. I've been a trainer for more than 10 years. And I know we took officers, more than 600 officers in the field, through intensive training on investigation of gender-based violence with the support of our HISITAP from the US. And quite a number of, both, I mean, GSU, the Kenya Police, and
so
even the APTC.
We do need to see it reflect, I believe. I also want to remind people that we're going to be taking your questions and your views. We're going to open our phone lines. I'll give you that number shortly after the break. So make sure you call in and ask your questions, share your concerns. You don't need to tell us your name if you want to remain anonymous. You can also do that as well. But do call us. We'll share that number with you in just a few moments. Before we take a break, let me engage the two of you ladies. Clearly, we're really looking at justice here before we move into the support, the treatment. And I know, Alberta, you've brought a kit that you say is available for survivors to buy over the counter at pharmacies. Is that correct?
No.
Or where can they buy them?
It's free at the health facility.
It's free at health facilities.
Yeah, it's what is used to correct. To collect the evidence.
Okay, fine. You'll show us exactly what that is in just a moment. But also your own thoughts and views on the justice of a lot of the survivors that you've worked with. Yes, Alberta.
Yeah, I have something to say to Madam Miriam, and she says 70% of the cases are actually, go through, go see through to conviction. So I wonder what happens with the 30%? Where I work at the Gender Violence Recovery Center of the Nairobi Women's Hospital, we receive about 3,000 survivors per year. Only 15 of those will report the cases to the police. Then you'd have a lesser number. Then I'm assuming then 15% of the 3,000 will report to the police from those seen at our centers, and then there's the 30 that don't get convicted. So I would like to understand, what can we do to assist, or what happens to the 30 and there are the many who don't report, and maybe why would they not report to the police?
That's a good question.
And sit through?
What happens to the 30%?
If I got her right, there are some cases that they are at the recovery center, and maybe they are not reported to the police. I know some survivors. I don't want to call them victims. Some survivors, after the incident, they prefer going to the hospital. They are treated, and they don't want that. They find it a little bit. They find it cumbersome going through the criminal justice process. There is that bit we've noticed that. Once they're treated, they have been put through the PEP, and they go for counseling. They don't want to go. They're like, it's too much for me. I'm going through so much. I don't want that.
Is that what you find, that they think it's too much?
Yes, I'll tell you of a case that we offer expert medical testimony in court. There's a case that this year we offered testimony for court, a case that was filed in 2006. And that's my issue. And that's what some of the survivors face. You don't want to drag in, for 5 years plus, or even 1 year is too long. Dragging in and just, going to give evidence, in maybe a court that's not friendly. You're talking about small children who will stand, directly opposite perpetrators. Can we have sealing of evidence? Where can these survivors just come, give their testimony in privacy and just once and move on? All
right. Actually, when we come back from the break, I'd like you to perhaps give us recommendations of what can be adopted to make it a more sensitive process. I think that's important. You too as well, Lucy. We'll be right back after the break. Stand by. We'll also share the number that you can use to dial in and ask your questions. We're back shortly.